It's barely 24 hours. It's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I did this 10 p.m. last night. And look at how bubbly this sourdough starter is. So I'm going to check it this at 10 p.m. tonight before I go to bed. So this is just going to be the first day of the sourdough starter. Okay, so this is the sourdough starter and it's almost 3 o'clock. But just a while ago, 1 o'clock p.m., I checked it and the height was around here. And now it's doubled. So this is the original line of the starter. And so 1 o'clock it was here and now it's almost 3 and it's almost doubled. So I think I'm going to, well, I'm not sure if this is going to overflow by the time it gets to 10 p.m. tonight. So what I'm going to do is that I have already prepared some jars here because I will not throw the discards. I'm going to feed them in these 2 jars. So I'm going to divide the discards into 2 jars when I feed it at 10 p.m. and then I'm going to use the discards, feed them as well, and then use it for tomorrow's flatbreads because I feel like having some pizza. Okay, so that's basically going to be just my day 1 tonight at 10 p.m. here. So my tip is that don't use chlorinated water. Make sure that when you whip your starter, it should be on the side of it shouldn't be watery, it should be a little thick, and then whip it until it becomes stringy, or I mean mix it until it becomes stringy, almost like you're seeing a little bit of that gluten forming. Okay, and close your jar because when I was starting I used to slightly open the jar, but make sure that you close the jar so it doesn't dry. Okay, so that's my almost day 1 starter because it's only barely 3 o'clock and still have a lot of hours to go before it gets to 10 p.m. tonight for my day 1. This looks like it's going to overflow, so I'm going to move it to this 1-quart jar because it's only 3:20 in the afternoon and it's more than double the size or the height. Very, very active starter. Look at how bubbly the starter is. Okay, so I'm thinking of whether I need to start putting it here and just don't feed them just yet. Just transfer the starter onto these jars, extra jars that I have, and then feed it later at around 10 p.m. And I think that's what I'm going to do right about now before I start cleaning up the mess that this will cause on my kitchen counter. So this is my day 1 starter. I haven't fed it yet. I'm going to feed it in about 45 minutes from now. So I'm going to keep these two Instead of throwing them away, because this is supposed to be the discard, as well as this one, but instead of throwing them away, I'm going to use it tomorrow for a focaccia or flatbread recipe instead of throwing them away. I don't want to throw anything away because look at that, that's free yeast. So this is day one, and I'm going to keep the starter a little bit on the thick side, so more flour than water. Hopefully that's what I get. And so I'm feeding all of this, but I'm keeping this two. One is for a spare starter just in case something bad happens to the other one. But hopefully I will be able to keep this one because the one I started last year, I threw them away. Okay, so day one. So let's feed the starter with bread flour. So this is about 1/4 cup. A little bit more. And I'm going to feed the other one as well. Let's grab some filtered water. I'm using zero water. And then I'm going to use plastic to stir. So I'm going to stir it first and then I'll add the water. So I'll know how much water to use. And then tomorrow, after another 24 hours, I'm going to discard most of the starter and feed again the starter. So again, this used to be almost to the brim because this is originally 200 grams, but I took away about 3/4 the amount of the starter away. They were supposed to be some, they were supposed to be the discard, but I did not throw them away. So let's mix this. This is the one in the 1/4 container. Okay, a little bit of, again, this is zero water, filtered water. Do not use chlorinated water. Oops, sorry. So I'm feeding the starter. I'm gonna keep it a little on the thick side. So this is the starter that I'm going to keep. And this is the one that I will use tomorrow for the focaccia. But I'm going to feed it because if I don't feed it, the yeast will die. Look at how bubbly the yeast is. I mean the starter is. Some more bread flour. A little bit of water. Filtered water. That's going to feed the yeast for another 24 hours. This is a little bit runnier than the other two that I made because I'm going to use this for a focaccia recipe tomorrow. So that's it, day one. Okay, it's 12:20 and I'm worried that this third jar right here will overflow when I make up tomorrow. So, am I supposed to leave it there? Okay, so I'm not sure. Maybe I should take some of the starter here and put it here in this big jar just to make sure. Yep, that's what I will do. I'm going to take away some of that starter and put it here where the space is quite enormous compared to this one. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do before I go to bed. It's almost 12:30 in the evening and I fed this around 9 o'clock this evening. So this starter is really getting wild. Okay. These two are starting to deflate because look at the level of the starter. When I woke up at 2 a.m. this morning, it was about that high. And now they're starting to deflate. And this one is not deflating. This one is not deflating just yet. So these two are the starter that I added a little bit more water in. And so I think maybe that's the reason why they're deflating. It's only 9 o'clock in the morning. So that's barely 36 hours. Interesting.